Good morning, YouTube. It's your boy Rob here on a Tuesday morning. Thought I'd get out here on a gold wing before it gets too hot today. It's going to be about 100 degrees today. It's about 8:23 and it's already getting somewhat warm. So I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you guys based on an article which I read last night on Revzilla. Basically things that you need to be aware of in order to ensure your safety while riding a motorcycle. We all know that motorcycling can be a very hazardous activity, albeit very rewarding. I myself can't see myself giving up motorcycling no time soon anyway. But basically I just wanted to run down a list of things that I read in Revzilla and also added a few things of my own that I think everyone needs to be cognizant of when they ride a motorcycle, whether you're a beginner or whether you've been riding for a while. The first thing that you must do is ride as though people are trying to kill you. Or better yet, ride as though people aren't going out of their way to ensure your safety. That's probably a better way of putting it. You are ultimately responsible for what happens to you on your motorcycle. You can't put it on anyone else. It's all you. It's all us. So we've got to do things to ensure that we increase our chances of surviving, or better yet, avoiding an accident while we're on our motorcycles. Now, the example that Revzilla provided in their article was, you may be riding on a road such as this, for years. 2-lane highway, you've got cars passing you going the opposite direction, and nothing may happen to you 999 times. But there may be one instance where someone is on a cell phone and he or she drifts out of their lane into your lane. How can you increase your chances of surviving that particular situation? Lane position may be one thing. Ensuring that your lane position is optimal may be one way of possibly avoiding that particular situation. Other areas where you may increase your chances of survival in this scenario is you're riding down a 2-lane highway, you're passing a bunch of residences on the right hand side or the left hand side. In a lot of cases, driveways represent a huge hazard for motorcyclists. So what you don't want to do is, you don't want to be riding 100 miles an hour on roads such as that, where you have quite a few driveways that you have to contend with, that you have to deal with, that you have to be cognizant of. Assume that some nut is going to barrel out of their driveway without looking, without slowing down, and cause you to have a real messed up day. Another instance, another example is you're riding through, or you're about to ride through a busy intersection. Assume the worst. Assume that people who are driving in the opposite direction or the cross traffic won't stop. They may run a red light. So what are you going to do in that case? Be ready with an action plan on how to avoid that particular situation. A personal example which I had a couple of years ago I was riding my Super Tenere from the shop. I just got it serviced. Just had it serviced. And I stopped at a stop sign. Well, actually a traffic light. And some woman came up behind me, wasn't paying attention, and hit me from behind. Luckily, my lane position was such that I mitigated any major damage to myself or my bike. I lost my right side box, but it could have been a lot worse had my position not been optimal at that traffic light. And luckily I seen her just in time. I was able to get out the way just a little bit more, and that saved me from injury. I walked away from that without an issue. Okay, the next thing that motorcyclists need to be cognizant of is you got to assume, or you got to ride like you're invisible. Assume that nobody sees you, right? We already have a much lower profile than automobiles and trucks and whatnot. So people aren't trained to see motorcyclists as they are with other vehicles. So you got to do what you can to make yourself visible, which means perhaps adding additional lighting to your motorcycle, wearing high visible clothing such as a high visible vest, high visible jackets, perhaps wearing a white helmet to ensure your visibility. When you're approaching an intersection, maybe you need to weave a little bit to ensure that you get the attention of folks who may be preparing to make a left turn in front of you. So those are things that you can do while ensuring that you're seen while on your motorcycle. Okay? Revzilla provided another example of something that you need to be cognizant of while riding a motorcycle, and that is perhaps you're having fun with your buddies on twisties. You're going through one somewhat hot, hotter than what you wanted to go into the curve, much higher speed. What are you going to do? Well, what Revzilla claims that you should do is just go ahead and prepare to go into the turn the best you can. What you don't want to do is hit the brakes hard, stand up the bike and lose control, go into a ditch or go into a ravine or what have you. What you want to do is not panic, lean into the curve, look into the curve, and make your way out of the curve. Trust your tires on a motorcycle. In order to do that, practice. Practice taking those curves on your motorcycle. Your bike and your tires are much more capable than what you think they are. As long as the tires are good, as long as the bike is in good working order, you should be able to make that curve without too much of an issue. Now, of course, one way to ensure that you're good to go in this scenario is just don't go into curves too fast, not beyond your capability. But if you find yourself going a little fast, just lean into it, look into it, and make your way out of that curve. Another thing that you need to be cognizant of to ensure that you are safe on a motorcycle is if you're into group rides, riding with folks who may have different skill levels than yourself, who may be more skilled than yourself, and you're not too comfortable with what they're doing, ride your own ride. Don't worry about what they're doing. If you need to go slower, go slower. If you're not feeling 100% that day, either don't ride or simply ride your own ride. There's been a few cases here in San Antonio doing group rides where guys were trying to keep up with more advanced riders, especially in the twisties, and they just lose control. In a couple of instances, they lost their life. So it's not worth it, folks. If you're just getting into motorcycling, or if you're not super confident in riding curves, just practice before you join a group ride, before you ride in a group. Just practice until you feel comfortable enough. And even then, even if you do have the skill level, and if you're not in the mood to ride the ride that your buddies are riding, then don't ride that ride. Ride your own ride. Okay? Another way to ensure your safety while riding a motorcycle: no one on two wheels, I don't care how skilled you are, is an expert. Nobody. I don't care if you've been riding for 20, 30, 40 years. We are not experts. Very few of us are. Always treat yourself as a student of the game. Go back to your old motorcycle safety foundation course material. Read up. Look at books that folks who may have a lot of skill may offer, just to ensure that you stay on top of your game. There are quite a few good YouTube channels out there. MC Rider, he's an awesome dude. Comes up with some great tips on the proper riding techniques and that kind of thing, things that you need to be cognizant of. Moto Jitsu is also very, very good as well. So there are a lot of good riders out there on YouTube that you can take heed of and learn some tips and tricks and just some good ideas on how to increase your skill level and how to maintain safety while you're on your motorcycle. So always be a student of the game. The next one, practice risk management on a motorcycle. Cost-benefit analysis is something that can't be emphasized enough. If there's a chance of heavy rain and thunderstorms, then you may want to think twice about riding. If you're going to go out drinking with your buddies, don't take your motorcycle. Take an Uber or Lyft or something like that. The last thing you want to do is kill yourself because you were dumb enough to drink and ride. If you're not fully comfortable with riding a motorcycle, then don't take a passenger with you. Don't do that. I mean, it's all common sense stuff. Risk management is all common sense. If your bike isn't in working order, if there's something not 100% with your bike, then don't ride. It's all common sense. All common sense. If it's foggy outside, don't ride your motorcycle. Wow, they're doing all kind of construction out here. I can't go too fast. Oh yeah, if there's construction on the road, then take it easy. Take it easy. Risk management, cost benefit analysis, whatever you want to call it, use it. It's all common sense. All common sense. Another one is to limit your riding at night. I try not to ride at night, even though sometimes I do, but I try to limit it. At nighttime, you've got more people who may be drinking and driving. You got more chances of hitting animals Almost hit a deer not too long ago, and it was dusk. So it's just not worth it, folks. If you're on a trip, on a long motorcycle trip, try to wrap it up before it gets dark. If you do find yourself riding in the dark, make sure, and this is what I used to do, I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do or not, but make sure you position yourself behind a vehicle where if there is something out there on the road or that darts into the road, they'll hit it and not you. May not be a good idea, may not be the right thing to do, but in those cases where I found myself riding in the dark, like on trips, that's what I did. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot one more. If you're interested in getting into motorcycling, don't just buy a motorcycle without taking the MSF course. Take the motorcycle safety foundation course before you do any riding. Believe me, it's worth it. Alright folks, that's all I have for you today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you later. Peace.